The Week 16 review episode of the Bears Talk Underground is brought to you by MyBookie. Hey guys, bowl season is here, and it's time to get in on the action with MyBookie. Don't be the guy with no rooting interest as your relatives or friends sit around watching the game. Not this year, when there are a record 41 bowl games to bet on, including the national championship game on January 7th. It really is the most wonderful time of the year. Make sure you're ready for the daily action by signing up with MyBookie today. They pay fast when you win, and ownership really cares about good customer service, and they offer the craziest props. Where you bet is just as important as who you are betting on, and if you want to make money during bowl season, you got to go with MyBookie. I trust them, but you don't have to take my word for it. Check them out for yourself. Join now, and MyBookie will offer you a 50% deposit bonus to make sure you have a nice bankroll for bowl season. Use the promo code BEARS25 when you deposit to activate the offer. That's promo code BEARS25. At MyBookie, you play, you win, you get paid. This week on the Bears Talk Underground, San Francisco has never really been a friendly place for our beloved, and Sunday promised to be no different against a struggling 49er team looking to defend their home ground and ruin our beloved's chances at a first-round bye. Did the Bears get their fourth road win of the season, or did San Francisco send us back home unhappy? All of this plus Bear Up and Bear Down on the Week 16 review episode of the Bears Talk Underground. Well, it wasn't pretty, but it was pretty on the in the win column, that's for sure, as our beloved escaped San Francisco, and I do believe that escape is the appropriate word, especially with the way the game ended, with our 11th victory of the season. What's going on, everybody? Merry Christmas. Here it is, Christmas Eve, the Week 16 review episode of the Bears Talk Underground, and thankfully, the Bears, who have consistently underperformed on the road this year, did not ruin my Christmas by losing a game to the 4-10 San Francisco 49ers while I was home on my Christmas break, if you will. Thankfully, they pulled it out. The defense travels well, that's for sure. And I'm not really even so much sure that the offense was much of a problem yesterday. I mean, the 49ers, they were game on defense, that's for sure. They definitely came to play. It just it's a very odd game when you kind of sit down and look back at it. That it was as close as it was when the Bears seemed to pretty clearly dominate the game. It's just for one reason or another, we weren't able to close the deal on offense and kept it far more interesting than it needed to be yesterday. You'll hear that as kind of the running theme of the knee-jerk reactions this week. You know, it just the first quarter was little to no action, a very big back-and-forth defensive battle in the first quarter. The second quarter, things picked up a little bit. The offenses were able to start moving the football, put a few points on the board. The Bears seemed to take control of the game in the third quarter, and in the fourth quarter is just where all hell kind of broke loose. You know, the offense couldn't seem to finish it off, and the 49ers just kept clawing and scratching at the end. God bless the 49ers. I hope that they are this much trouble for LA next week so that they can hand the Rams that one last loss and the Bears can beat the Vikings and get that first round bye. Get a week of rest, get another week for Aaron Lynch and Eddie Jackson to get healthy for the divisional round. Kyle Long should be ready and good to go by that point and everything, and we'll be at full strength to take on whoever it is that comes into Soldier Field for that divisional round. My only hesitancy there about the first round bye is how we have played this year on bye weeks. But the funny thing is, we had the bye week, then we went on the road to Miami. We're not a good road team this year. And then we had that mini bye after the Thanksgiving game against Detroit on the road at the Giants. So there you go. It's like maybe we'd be playing better out of the bye if we came out of the bye to a home game. Who knows? So maybe it wouldn't be that big of a deal playing in the divisional round at home because or having that bye week and not having to play until the divisional round because we would be playing at home, coming off of a bye at home, as opposed to both of our buys, our quote-unquote buys this year, we were on the road. So I will say this before we dive into the game. I'm very uncertain about the way this team plays on the road. I mean, we kind of stuck to our guns as far as being a fairly mistake-free team. We certainly made our share of mistakes yesterday, but the 49ers, proving why it is they are, in fact, a 4-10 team. You know, they've had their injury issues this year. They kind of chronicled them during the broadcast yesterday, how Nick Mullins is their third-string quarterback. He was their practice squad QB a year ago. Breda, their running back, was like their third guy off the their depth chart. They were down to like their number 3, wide receiver, number 1 receiver, their number 2 or number 3, number 2 receiver, and things like that. And it just kind of showed where the injuries have come on the team and how it has affected them. But they fought tooth and nail. I mean, you got to give credit to Kyle Shanahan and what he's doing in San Francisco, that these guys keep fighting up until the very end. And we'll go through the knee-jerk reactions to kind of follow through how the game was going down and all that kind of stuff. It's just that we want to try to get – I mean, we lost our opportunity at home field when the Saints beat the Steelers yesterday, so no home field advantage unless, knock on wood, whoever goes into New Orleans for that divisional round can knock them off and the Bears can win and then host the NFC Championship game. That would be fantastic. Not outside the possibility of things, but the Saints have been pretty well untouched at home. They lost their first home game of the year to the Buccaneers, and they haven't lost a home game since. So like the Bears, they're 7-1 at home this year. But I'm very uncertain about how this team plays on the road. It's just something something that it's very very uncomfortable about watching this team play. There was this sense of this could fall apart at any moment kind of thing with the way that the Bears let the 49ers kind of stay in the game yesterday. So we'll get to the knee-jerk reactions and work our way through the game. But as I mentioned a moment ago, very uneventful first quarter, not a whole lot going on, and for the most part, both defenses came off the bus ready to play.
Knee-jerk reaction to the first quarter, the Bears and the 49ers in a very boring first quarter. Not a whole lot going on, or at least not a lot of good football being played at this point. The Bears defense looks like they showed up to play, except for the last few plays here at the end of the first quarter where the Niners got a couple of first downs strung together. But the offense, I guess I give more credit to the 49er defense than anything. But the offense looks kind of out of sorts here to get things started. We got a really nice play on a 40-yard reception. Allen Robinson got us down near the red zone where we attempted a field goal, and Cody Parkey pushed it wide right. So instead of having a 3-0 lead right now, it's still 0-0. And that's pretty much all there is to report so far. I mean, the Bears are pretty well handling the 49ers on defense, and offense, the Bears are being handled by the 49ers. So defensive battle thus far, so there we got the 0-0 score. 49ers have the football right now, and we'll see what happens from here.
Kind of that first sign that this might not be our day, or things are not going to be as easy as they appear they should be on paper, with Cody Parkey missing that field goal. He hasn't missed a kick in a while, and for him to miss one like that and push it to the right, you just kind of got a feeling about the day. But there we go in the second quarter. That feeling just kind of persisted throughout the day. This feeling of discomfort that we knew the 49ers were going to be tough. For whatever reason, under Shanahan these last 2 seasons, they're undefeated in the month of December. They won 5 straight to close out the year last year. They won their first 2 December games this year over playoff or teams that were trying to make their way into the playoffs, Denver, and they beat Seattle in overtime last week. These guys are tough at home. They haven't won a game yet on the road, but they're pretty close to unbeatable at home, and they were looking to finish it strong against the Bears. And in the second quarter, You kind of got a feeling that last year was going to repeat itself. This is going to be one of those games where our offense really couldn't seem to get anything going, and our defense was playing well enough to keep them out of the end zone, and they just kept relying on good old Robbie Gould to put them through the uprights.
Knee-jerk reaction to the second quarter, the Bears and the 49ers, and it's been a very ugly first half for the Bears. In the first quarter, we had the boredom of 0-0. Defense was kind of leading the charge on both sides of the ball there. The 49ers handling the Bears handling the 49ers. In the second quarter, the 49ers are able to move the ball. They just seem to be playing with a little bit more enthusiasm in the second quarter than the Bears have. A couple of field goals from Robbie Gould gives the Niners a 6-0 lead. The Bears answer the second field goal with a very good-looking offensive drive. And I take that back. It wasn't so much a good drive in the way that it was played. It was a good drive that it ended with a touchdown pass to Anthony Miller to take the lead 7-6. However, the Bears had a few opportunities on that drive. One in particular where Mitch threw an interception in the end zone, but thankfully there was a defensive holding penalty on the 49ers that gave the ball back to the Bears, and they were later able to convert it into the touchdown. The offense just seems real out of sorts for some reason. There was a play like on 2nd and 1, 3rd and 1 or something like that, where Jordan Howard had just rattled off like 3 plays in a row. We got like 6 yards of carry or something like that, and Mitch fakes the handoff to Howard and then looks like he's going to keep it and run it, and at the last second he pulls up, doesn't cross the line of scrimmage, and throws it to Tariq Cohen for some reason. And because the pass was backwards, when Cohen didn't catch the ball, it became a live football and a fumble that the 49ers recovered, and that resulted in their second field goal. So plenty of reasons, for it to be 9-7 right now and for the Bears to be losing this game when that at the very least it should be 10-3 or something like that instead. But the 49ers start with the football in the second half. And we need to come out with a little bit more conviction and actually play like we want to get the second seed in the NFC and earn the bye. Because right now, it just looks like the same team we've seen on the road all year, playing down to its competition, not playing with the same level of I don't want to say heart, but enthusiasm or, that little extra gear that I've been talking about all year. You're not seeing it from the team right now. They're just kind of going through the motions. You can almost call it arrogant by saying that we, basically expected to win this game by showing up, and we're not seeing our 2018 Bears out there right now. They look like a crappy road team right now. So it's only 9-7, thank God. But the 49ers started with the football, and we'll see how the second half goes. Right now, I'm not too confident.
And that statement right there kind of sums it up. Right now, I'm not too confident. I know that we have the better team, but we had the better team against Miami. We had the better team against the Giants. We had the better team against Arizona this season. We had the better team against Detroit because we beat them twice. And in all of these games, we struggled with inferior teams, and in fact, we lost to 2 of them. We lost that Miami game. We lost that Giants game. The Giants, who lost their 10th game yesterday to the Colts. They're either going to finish 6-10 or 5-11 this year. The Dolphins are done for the season. Their playoff chances are over with. In everything. They were, I think, officially eliminated yesterday, but even though they've probably been out of it for a couple of weeks now, we've struggled with this all year long. The Arizona Cardinals are 3-12 or something like that at the moment, and they gave us hell in a handbasket, and we waltzed out with a 16-14 win over that team. We lose in overtime to the Dolphins. We lose in overtime to the Giants, and it just all of the games that we have lost this year, we've lost to teams that we were better than. I mean, even week 1 against Green Bay, we turned out to be a much better team than the Packers, and we let that one. We let them back in the game. We let that one get away from us. So it's just kind of been the tail of the tape with this team throughout our road schedule this year. I don't know what it is about the way that we play on the road. We like to make things unnecessarily interesting. on the road. We got let's go through them. Let's the hell with it. Let's go through it. Arizona or Green Bay, obviously week 1. Arizona, we get the win, but we barely scrape by. Buffalo, that was like our one impressive road victory, but even that was kind of ugly on the offensive side. We got like 2 defensive touchdowns out of that game and everything. It was a 41-9 game, but we got the win at Detroit, the loss at the Giants. There's our other road loss, and then we had 2 home games in a row against the Rams and the Packers before just barely escaping with a win on the road yesterday in San Francisco. So there you go. We are 4-3 on the road in the in the season this year. So I mean, far more interesting than I think any of us would like for it to be on the road. And it's just like I said a moment ago. The lighter half of our schedule has been on the road. We're playing Arizona. We're playing the Giants. We're playing the Dolphins, the Lions on the road, and who are struggling and things like that. The Packers, who ended up not being a very good football team. We had the weaker half of our schedule on the road. We had the Rams at home. We had the Vikings. We had the Packers at home. Even though I just got done trashing the Packers, but we had New England at home, and even though we ended up losing that one. We played far better in that game than we did against anyone else. Seattle on the road. Tampa Bay was a hot team when they came into town. We played the Jets. Let's see, the Lions and the Vikings and the Rams and the Packers. It's just like it seems like if you had to look at which schedule had the tougher games, we had the tougher games at home, but we ended up winning those games. We go on the road against what was supposed to be an inferior talent, and we had trouble with everybody. I mean, even though we blew Buffalo away, we had plenty of trouble with them, especially in the first half of the football game. So it was for whatever reason, we don't quite show up as well on the road, which is kind of what makes me nervous about the playoffs and wanting to get as many home games as possible in Soldier Field for the Bears, because that's where we win. We win at home, and just, for the sake of argument, the NFC is the home team for the Super Bowl this year. So we'd be the home team in Atlanta. God forbid if we make it to the Super Bowl, it's going to be a home game for us. So there you go. So this is the year. We got to do it this year, because next year we'll be a road team, and then who knows what happens. But still, it's we show up better on the at home. We struggle too much on the road, and no matter who we're playing. It doesn't matter who we're playing. So. That was the same thing in the second quarter with this game. That play that I described earlier, I don't know why Mitch did that. I really don't. If he just runs ahead, it was, like I said, it was 2nd or 3rd and 1, something like that. So all he has to do, he faked the dive to Howard, and he looks like he's going to keep it himself and run for the first down, and as soon as somebody got in his way, instead of diving forward for the first down or sliding, giving himself up or whatever it was, he pulls up and then throws it, laterals it off to the side to Cohen. Cohen wasn't expecting the ball to be coming, I don't think. Not to mention Mitch threw a knuckleball of a pass. I mean, it was a one dead duck that he threw over to Cohen, and he also threw it backwards, which is why it became a live football. When Cohen couldn't handle it, the 49ers recover, and what was a 3-0 lead for the 49ers now ended up becoming a 6-0 lead when they added the second field goal there. It's just like when you see us doing things like that, it's just like, what the hell are we doing? Why are we letting the 49ers in the game like this? It just seemed like we kept shooting ourselves in the foot there in the first half, and then I don't know if Nagy just finally got in their ass or something after that drive, because then the offense finally showed up after that field goal drive for the 49ers where they got points off of the turnover. Not to mention, you guys remember that during the preview episode, we talked to Oscar Aparicio about this. The 49ers had 5 turnovers all season coming into this game. 5. Okay, they finally broke their 5 or 6 game streak without a turnover because of that play with that Trubisky. You're like, I don't know what the hell he was thinking there. I don't understand. And I don't know if their defensive coordinator really put an emphasis on trying to rip the ball out of our hands, but we were being really sloppy and careless with the ball, something that would come back to hurt us again at the end of the game. But we'll talk about that when we get there. But it just seemed like the 49ers were bound and determined to end this turnover-less streak that they were on, and the Bears were being more than accommodating and giving them opportunities to end that streak and then even add to their turnover total for the season. So luckily, like I said, we did bounce back. We responded to that second field goal, put the drive together. We got a gift from the 49ers because it was a legitimate holding penalty. We didn't get any help from the referees on that one. The guy that they called the penalty on was definitely holding on that particular play. So that was the 49ers doing themselves in and screwing up an opportunity. Mitch forced a throw on that one, but it was like it never happened, and the Bears got another bite at the apple. This time Mitch finds Anthony Miller in the corner of the end zone for the touchdown. And speaking of which, Anthony Miller said back in April, May, whatever it was, that he was going to score 8 touchdowns this year. Yesterday's touchdown made 7, so he's only got to score 1 more to nail his prediction right on the head, and hopefully he'll get his opportunity next week against the Vikings to prove himself some kind of soothsayer and like some kind of sorcerer or wizard or whatever, that he can predict exactly the amount of touchdowns he's going to score, because if he scores 1 more, he'll hit 8 touchdowns right on the head. So in that instance, it was the 49ers that did themselves in, which is what happens when you're 4-10, 4-11. You end up making hurting yourself more than helping yourself in moments like that. And the Bears gave them a golden opportunity to kill our best drive of the first half, and they ended up giving it right back to us with that holding penalty. So I just wanted to make a point that it was a legitimate holding penalty. The referees got the call right, and that's not my Chicago Bear bias or anything like that. They showed the replay, and they showed him hold. I think it may have been Shaheen or somebody that they were holding on to, but the holding penalty was legit, so it was a good call, and thankfully it erased the interception that Trubisky served up. So we got away with one there. It was a legitimate mistake made by the 49ers, but we got lucky on that particular play. So we go into the half down 2 points, low on confidence as we head into the locker room, knowing we have the better team, which is why you kind of hear that kind of that little attitude in my voice, because like I know we should be killing these guys. If we were in Chicago, we'd probably be winning 21-9 instead of down 9-7. We would be killing the 49ers. I fully believe that. If we're playing this game in Chicago, we're probably murdering the 49ers at halftime, especially with the way Mitch was throwing the ball. Those 2 stupid mistakes in the second quarter aside, he was pretty much perfect for the rest of the football game. And, that decision to pitch the ball, I don't know what the hell he was thinking there. And then, he just made a bad throw, a bad decision and a bad throw on the interception. But luckily that was erased. But aside from that, he was 25 of 29 in this game. One of his, I think it was the most accurate day he's had. He didn't really rack up the yards because that's not what we were doing yesterday. I think he only ended up with about 240, 250 yards passing yesterday. Thankfully, with the holding call, no interceptions were thrown by Trubisky yesterday, and he had the touchdown pass to Anthony Miller. So statistically, he had a fantastic game, and he had a streak at one point. We had like 12, 13 completions in a row, and he was just putting it on a dime pretty much the entire football game yesterday. That interception throw aside. But, he was deadly accurate against the 49ers. If we needed a 3rd and 5 or something like that, Trubisky put it in just the right spot to get it to the receiver in that window to get the with 3rd and 5, we got 6, that kind of thing yesterday. Mitch was putting it right where he needed to yesterday. He was throwing the ball very, very well, especially in the second half. So as in the third quarter, we come out, we get our second touchdown drive. Defensively, we stayed in San Francisco's face, finally getting after Nick Mullins, because we only sacked him once yesterday, but we were in his face tons yesterday. And the third quarter, you hear me going from that funky little attitude I had at halftime because I was disappointed with where we were at. Third quarter, I sound a bit more relaxed because even though it is only a 14-9 lead, I really do feel like the Bears retook control of the game after that third quarter.
Knee-jerk reaction in the third quarter. The Bears and the 49ers, and it feels like we've regained control of the game. We blanked the 49ers on offense, and we've retaken the lead with a 10-play, 90-yard drive from the offense. Got a little help from the 49ers with a 15-yard face mask penalty at one point, but for the most part, it seems like we finally got an offensive rhythm going and finished off the drive with a 4-yard Jordan Howard touchdown run. It really does seem like the Bears' pass rush is imposing their will in the third quarter here. There was one series where Khalil Mack hit Nick Mullins on 3 straight plays to blank another 49er offensive possession. So it's 14-9 right now. The Bears have the football. I believe with our last sequence of plays, we are in 49er territory, hoping to nail this down and get out of San Fran with the win and be one win closer to hopefully a first-round bye. But unfortunately, the Rams are winning right now, and so are the Saints.
So you heard me mention it there, that one sequence of plays, 3 plays, an entire series, basically. Khalil Mack got in Nick Mullins' face. He swam right over McGlinchey. He swam inside, made a move on the inside of him where McGlinchey, even though Mack cut to the inside, somehow McGlinchey never touched him. And a couple of times it just felt like we weren't as opportunistic as we have been in the past, because usually when one of our defenders is able to get a hand on a ball or brush his arm as it's being thrown and it does that dead duck-like flop in the air, usually somebody falls underneath it. And maybe that's where we missed Eddie Jackson yesterday. He usually seems to find his way underneath passes like that, or Roquan or Danny Trevathan would be in the area, but yesterday those balls fell harmlessly to the ground, so they were just incomplete passes as opposed to turnover opportunities for the Bears yesterday. But that drive, it was actually 14 plays, not 10, but 90 yards. We took a chunk of time off the clock, and think that face mask penalty happened on the second play of that drive. What was supposed to be like a 3 or 4 yard loss for the Bears ended up being a 15-yard gain thanks to the face mask penalty. Once again, this is why the 49ers, remember, this is what we did last year. Guys, remember, we would have these opportunities. We would, have an interception, but there'd be a defensive holding call on the other side of the field. Or remember that 49er game from 2015 that I bitched about for an entire year. How many mistakes did we make in that game? If we make one less mistake in that game, we beat the 49ers in overtime. That was the game where Robbie Gould missed 2 field goals, including one at the end of regulation. Jay throws a pick 6 on a ball that should have never left his hand. We had a punt return for a touchdown that got called back because of a holding penalty, and things like bang, 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 bang. If any one of those things doesn't happen throughout in the football game, we win it in overtime, and it never goes it never ends up being the way that it did. So, but that's kind of what happened with the 49ers yesterday. What should have been a 3-4 yard loss, stuff in the backfield for, who was it that made DeForest Buckner, who played a really good game yesterday. Buckner instead grabs Jordan Howard's face mask, and it becomes a 15-yard gain for the Bears. That interception that was called back because of the holding penalty yesterday, things like that. Those little things for the 49ers. I mean, there were a couple of times, I think, on that first touchdown drive where we got help from the 49ers. Holding call here. So what should have been maybe like a 3-and-out or a third down and the Bears are punting, we just got another set of downs because of a 5-yard holding call and things like that. That's why the 49ers are 4-10, 4-11 at this point. They're still making those. They're still a young team. They're making those young team mistakes like the Bears were making a year ago. A far more disciplined, sharper team than we were a year ago at this time. So that's, even though the Bears were doing their part to take control of the game in the third quarter, like I said, they were still getting some help from the 49ers, who were hurting themselves while they were helping us. So but it's like, as good as I felt in the third quarter, that long touchdown drive that ate up most of the quarter, well, we put ourselves up 14-9. We regained control of the scoreboard. We retook the lead. The defense is not letting up whatsoever on the 49ers. things got really interesting in the fourth quarter when we couldn't seem to put them away for one reason or another, and the 49ers, God bless them, would not stop fighting.
Knee-jerk reaction to the fourth quarter, the Bears and the 49ers, and a far more interesting game than it should have been, especially at the end. It was a 0-0 score in the fourth quarter as far as nobody scoring points, I should say. The Bears defense well in control. They bent a little bit too much at times, but overall they made the plays when they needed to keep San Francisco from scoring. A key interception on the most promising drive for the 49ers in the first quarter. Depends on who you want to put it on. Either the receiver didn't catch it or the quarterback threw it too far out in front of him. Either way, it goes off of his fingertips into the hands of Danny Trevathan, and the Bears basically had the football from then to the end of the game until on 3rd and 3. It's past the 2-minute warning. It's 3rd and 3. The Bears get a first down. The game is over. Trubisky completes a pass to Allen Robinson. Trubisky, by the way, had an outstanding day throwing the football. He only had 4 incompletions the whole day. Throws the pass to Robinson. Robinson has the first down. He's trying to get more yards, gets the ball knocked out of his hands, and the 49ers recover it, and they have life. They have a chance they should never have had, and, ended up making the game far more interesting. The Bears defense had to come out and do it one more time, and they did, to secure the 14-9 win, to get our 11th victory of the season. And so we get to further hope for the bye week again next week if we can beat the Vikings. Right now, I think the Cardinals were not able to beat the Rams, so it's up to these 49ers that gave us so much trouble. Hopefully they can give the Rams some trouble and get a win. The Bears can beat the Vikings to get that bye week. Either way, we walked away with a win, and I can't say for certain that we deserved it.
I'm going to go ahead and take that one back. We did deserve to win the game. We made the plays when they needed to be made in order to win that football game. Defensively, we definitely deserved to win the game because for the second year in a row, we played the 49ers. We gave up 0 touchdowns to those 49ers. They scored 5 field goals on us last year, 3 field goals on us this year, and each time that they got close to scoring, we would either shut them down or, as we did in the fourth quarter, that interception by Danny Trevathan, opportunistic. You can put it on whoever you want to. I'm sure 49er fans are split on where the blame goes. But, that pass was right off the fingertips of Goodwin, right into the hands of Danny Trevathan, right place, right time. All he has to do is hang on to the football and go to the ground. It's the Bear ball, and there we have it. And then that moment to Allen Robinson there right at the end, I mean, the 49ers are out of timeouts. We get a first down. The game is over, period. We're in victory formation for the final $140. It's over with. And Allen Robinson catches the pass, and I don't have any problem with him getting extra yards. I don't really have a problem with that at all. My problem was with the fact that how he was carrying the football, and he was carrying it real wide in his arm. He had the football in his hand, but his arm was way outside, way away from his body, and the defender basically just peanut punched the ball out of his hand. And there it goes flying all over the place. It's on the field, bam, right into another defender's arms. And with $1:50 to go in the game, the 49ers have life and fairly decent field position to work with there. They're out of timeouts, but they've got all the momentum now. And the defense that had been doing it all day long has to go out and do it one more time. And God bless them. We did. We went out there and we shut them down one last time. The defense, not going to be paying for the sins of the offense in this particular game. But, it's like Robinson overall, you're going to hear in the Bear Ups and Bear, he makes both lists this week. And it's not going to be hard to, and I'll tell you why he made the Bear Up list as well. But the Bear Down list there, he was a victim of one ball being ripped out of his hands. Remember I was talking earlier about how the 49ers were uncharacteristically ball hungry this week. They created a couple of turnovers. Thankfully, we were already down in most of those instances, but They were ripping the ball out of hands, punching the ball out of hands, things like that. They were uncharacteristically ball hungry, maybe taking a page out of our book and something that we've been doing all year long to lead the league in turnovers and what have you. But it was very frustrating to watch, and then to see it, you could almost tell that something like that was going to happen, and it did with the way that Robinson was carrying the ball. If he carried it inside, maybe even covered it up with both hands, I mean, hindsight 2020, but it's just go back and watch the play. He's got the ball way out away from his body, so it's going to be easy to pop it out, and the guy hit the ball just right and popped it out of his hands, and the 49ers are able to recover. And what should have been game over, here we go, Bears get win number 11, we get the hell out of here with a tight win, becomes like, oh, Jesus, man. Now they got another chance to go ahead and win this game. No timeouts, but they've got all the momentum, and we're putting our defense right back out on the field. The good thing is, the one thing I hadn't mentioned yet, was that despite the fact that we only scored 2 touchdowns yesterday, we held on to the ball for a very long time. We had nearly 36 minutes time of possession yesterday. So the good thing about having to send the defense out there one last time was that they didn't spend a lot of time on the field. So it's not like when we were playing the Dolphins and the defense was run ragged by the humidity and the fact that they were on the field quite a bit because we couldn't seem to get the Dolphins off the field in that one. They were fresh as a daisy, still coming after Mullins, still getting there, and they were able to make some plays to get further on down the field. But in the end, again, it was the 49ers kind of shooting themselves in the foot and the Bears defense not being denied, because there it was, like 4th and 4, 4th and 5. The Bears are rushing 3, dropping 8 kind of thing, and Mullins kind of rolls out to his right side. And looking downfield for a receiver, he could have run for a first down. He could have had it, but instead decided to throw the ball down the field. McManus was on the coverage, not to mention the ball was sailing out of bounds, and the Bears get away with the win after that. But another moment where the 49ers kind of hurt themselves instead of being able to help themselves. Something that I'm sure over time will fix itself. I think what they're doing in San Francisco is going to start working out for them probably sooner rather than later, going forward. I think that Lynch and Shanahan are going to be able to do some things out there in San Fran. Thankfully, we're not going to see the 49ers again for at least – we're not going to see them next year at all, because we're playing the NFC East and the AFC West. And our same place opponents are going to be the Rams and the Saints, because those are the other first-place teams. So we're not playing the 49ers for the first time in 6 years next season. So that will be a nice change of pace, not to see them on the schedule. But, so maybe we get a crack at them in 2020, and we'll see what happens, what kind of football team they'll be at that point. But, in the fourth quarter, it was kind of unsettling. But it's like I said, after we got that interception happened with like 7.5 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, and we had the ball the entire time until Allen Robinson fumbled it after the 2-minute warning. It was 3rd and 3 going into 2-minute warning, and again, Robinson gets himself open. Trubisky puts it right in the spot. He makes the catch. We have a first down. So he can either go down, fine. He can go for yardage. I'm okay with that too, but he didn't protect the football, and boom. There it happens. The fumble happens, and the 49ers have life where they had none literally a second before that happens. The game was over as Robinson is advancing the ball down the field, but not protecting the football. It gets popped out, and there you have it. And we're, I bite my nails, so I had no nails left. I was chewing down to my knuckles getting through that last 2 minutes of the football game. But thankfully, we do have the league's best defense. And they were not going to, as I said before, pay for the sins of our offense. So we come away with the win, 14-9 to improve to 11-4. Could you imagine? 11-4. That's where we're sitting right now. So next week, with a win over the Vikings, that's who we play next week. We've already more than doubled our win total from a year ago. We were 5-11 last year. We have 11 wins now. We could be 12-4, a 7-game improvement from year 3 of John Fox to year 1 of Matt Nagy. with the playoffs yet to come. That would be a hell of a thing. And the Bears we could be keeping the Vikings out. Also, we could be playing the Eagles in if that happens. And the Eagles are playing some scary good football at the moment. They beat the Texans yesterday. They beat the Rams for us last week, which was a good thing for us. But I don't know if we want the Eagles in the playoffs this year with the way that they're playing right now. They're kind of rallying around Nick Foles, who's once again playing for the injured Carson Wentz, who hurt his back earlier this year, or earlier this month, I should say. And they've won the last 2 games. They're 8-7. If they need the Bears they need to win and the Vikings to lose. So the Bears could be damned if you do, damned if you don't. If we lose, we're playing the Vikings again week 17, wild card round in Soldier Field. If we win, then and the Rams win, then we're still going to be the wild card team locked in as the 3 seed. We're beating the Vikings to welcome the Eagles to Soldier Field. So I don't know what we want to do there. So I feel better about playing the Vikings a wild card round, especially at home, because the Bears have history on their side for starters. The Bears always win at home against the Vikings historically. And, I just don't want that scary, dangerous team that kind of got in through the back door to be the first team to play a playoff game against the Bears. So I would much rather not be that team that is playing the defending world champions when they're playing their best football. So maybe we should, maybe the Rams would do us a favor and blow out the 49ers in the first half. So regardless of where we're at in the first half, Nagy starts sitting starters in that game against Minnesota to get ready for the wild card round, because we got to play again in maybe 6 days. Maybe the Bears will have to play one of those Saturday games. Who knows? But so I guess it is up to the Rams. If they're out there and the 49ers are giving them hell, then we got to keep playing for the win. But if they come out and put up 21-0 in the first quarter, then maybe Nagy starts sitting guys in the second quarter in the second half. But all right, Chase, go out there and see if you can improve on your performance from New York and get us through the rest of this game. And maybe we don't care so much about Kyle Fuller, have a seat. Tolliver, go ahead and get out there. Or Khalil Leonard, go ahead and sit down. Kylie Fitz, Isaiah Irvin, go out there, do your thing. Nick Witkowski, go in there and replace Roquan. Get him off the field. Nettie Trevathan, come over here and sit down. Iggy, Mr. E.A. Buniwe, go out there and get some reps in there. Throw those other guys on the field and get Eddie Goldman and Akeem Hicks out of there, and so on and so forth on that defense. Let's get them ready for this Viking team at home next week. Let them have this win. We'll be 11-5, which is still awesome, and we'll host them a few days from now in Soldier Field and kick the unholy piss out of them, and then go to St. Louis, go to L.A. and beat the hell out of the Rams one more time in the nice California sun. So I think I like that path a bit more. So, but we'll all have to wait and see how this happens. A week from now, we'll all have our answers. So anyway. The Bears got away with the victory, 14-9, 11-4 on the season, with next week's finale against the Vikings yet to come. And let's going to do it for the Week 16 review. So what do you say we go ahead and wrap this thing up with everybody's favorite segment, Bear Up, Bear Down. Bear up and bear down for the Week 16 review, and let's go ahead and get started here. We'll just start from the top. Bear up to Mitch Trubisky, 25 of 29, 246 yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions, thanks to that holding penalty. He was sacked 3 times. That's obviously not his fault. And, he did make 2 boneheaded plays in the game. I still don't know what he was thinking on that. I'm running for the first down. No, wait, I'll pitch it to Cohen instead. There were defenders over there, shadowing Tariq. So I think he would have actually lost more yardage than Mitch would have on that play. But, he fumbles the ball because Mitch threw it backwards, and it was a duck of a throw, and probably turning his head to see oncoming defenders, took his eyes off the ball and dropped it, and what have you. despite that, despite that and the interception that he threw, 25 of 29. That's, I think, the most accurate day he's had so far. The touchdown pass to Anthony Miller was a dead-on throw. There were so many times yesterday where he had those throws to like Allen Robinson, Taylor Gabriel. He was just dead on. He was just nailing it, helping us move the chains. Remember, I told you that we had 35 minutes, 30 seconds time of possession yesterday. So we beat the 49ers by over 11 minutes time of possession. So almost a full quarter time of possession we had on the 49ers. Just for one reason or another, we weren't able to close those out with points to extend the lead and whatnot. But eating up the clock the way that we did yesterday just did a fantastic job of moving the chains. I guess between the 20s we were savages moving the ball yesterday, but for whatever point we couldn't finish those drives and put them in the end zone. Bear up to Jordan Howard yesterday. 13 carries, 53 yards, over 4 yards a carry, and a touchdown. Basically the winning touchdown in the third quarter. And conversely, I want to give a bear down to Matt Nagy for that one, because not the touchdown play, but for Jordan Howard. Jordan Howard was running the ball very, very well yesterday. And remember, I said on that play in which Trubisky faked the handoff to Jordan Howard and was going to run it himself, and then that results in the fumble when he decides to pitch it to Cohen at the last minute. I know that was probably more of a decision by Mitch to hang on to the ball and run it himself than instead of just handing it off to Jordan Howard. But it just that's actually, as much as I hate to say it, that's the one thing that I miss about the Fox Loggins offense, is that they had no problems whatsoever running the ball with Jordan Howard 6 times in a row if it was working. If Jordan Howard was running the football well, like he was on that particular drive, he had like 6 yards on first down. Then he came back with 3 or 4 more on the next one, 9 yards on the play after that. And then the very next play was when the fumble occurred. Keep giving it to Howard. Keep giving it to him. It's working. Let's run down these guys' throats and impose our will on them, and then do play action, see if we can't go over the top or something like that. I don't know if Nagy gets bored or if he's trying to be the smartest guy in the room by switching it up and like, okay, they probably think we're going to keep running it, so let's do something different here, or whatever the problem is. If they can't stop it, don't stop doing it. Just keep going, man. And I think that's my biggest problem. Howard only carried the ball 13 times yesterday, carrying it at 4 yards a clip. Why don't we have 25, 26 carries out of Jordan Howard and seeing how that goes as opposed to what we ended up doing? It's like, I know we have way more options this year than we had last year. Pretty much Howard and Cohen were our offense a year ago. So we weren't running it with Howard. We were throwing it to Cohen kind of thing last year. It gets really frustrating to watch sometimes when you just kind of like, oh, yeah, this is going really well. I mean, like if it was the Rams, if it was, I don't know, the Saints or anything like that, if Alvin Kamara's got, if he's run the ball 3 times, he's got more than 5 yards on each of the last, Sean Payton's going to keep running the ball. Sean McVay is going to keep running the ball. He's not going to worry about whether or not the defense is going to figure it out and might be able to stop them on the next play. They're going to keep running it with Todd Gurley if it's working. On this particular drive, they're having trouble stopping the run, so let's keep running it. And I wish Matt Nagy would adopt that more of a thought process when we're running the football like that. Like I said, Jordan Howard is a bunches runner. He's a momentum guy. You keep giving him the football, the more he gets it, the better he's going to get, the better the odds of him breaking one for 15 or 20 yards, or God forbid 35 or 40. He's done it before, but for whatever reason, I don't know if it's just Nagy's play calling style or whatever it is, he just doesn't want to seem to have that drive where we run it 8 times in a row if Howard's getting plus yardage on every single down. He just, I don't know, he's not afraid to do it. I just think that he's reluctant to do it because we have Robinson and Gabriel and Burton and Miller and Shaheen and everything like that to throw the football to, that he just wants to keep mixing it up. At times I really wish he would adopt that if it ain't broke, don't fix it kind of mentality for our offense. I think it would help us in the long run, especially at this time of year. When we play 2 weeks from now, when we're back in Soldier Field for the wild card round, or 3 weeks from now for the divisional round, or whatever it ends up being, we're going to need Jordan Howard in the cold weather of Chicago to run the football instead of relying on Mitch trying to throw a rock of a football in that cold weather at Soldier Field. So, I don't know if he's saving Jordan Howard for this playoff run or whatever the case may be. I mean, wouldn't it be brilliant if he was? But I really do wish that he would just let Jordan Howard run the ball sometimes. I mean, it's been a chief complaint of this offense all season long. We've been bitching about it all year long. And, I don't know if it's the whole he doesn't fit the offense that Nagy wants to run, so Howard's not going to be here next year thing, or if Nagy really is holding off until the playoffs to turn Jordan Howard loose or whatever the case may be. I really wish that he would have just stuck with the run and fed Jordan Howard yesterday, because it was working. So bear up Jordan Howard, bear down Nagy for not feeding Jordan Howard. Bear up Khalil Mack. No sacks yesterday, but man, was he a terror during the pass rush. Bear up Akeem Hicks. 3 batted balls yesterday, not to mention some tackles in the backfield and just overall mayhem from Akeem Hicks. Bear up Danny Trevathan. Right place, right time for that key interception that killed San Francisco's most promising drive, basically of the game, but in the fourth quarter especially, when we're only up 5, touchdown gives them the lead. Fantastic job of awareness on his part to be there and get the ball in the Bears' hands. Bear up Roquan Smith, inching ever so closely to the tackle record for a rookie by Brian Urlacher. Roquan only needs 7 tackles next week to tie, 8 to break the record, which would be a hell of a standard that he's setting for himself by breaking the rookie record established by one of the best to ever play the game. Bear up Anthony Miller for his touchdown, and also bear up to Anthony Miller for being the first guy in there when that guy cheap-shotted Mitch yesterday. That started that home melee that got Josh Bellamy tossed, Richard Sherman got tossed, Anthony Miller got tossed for starting a fight there on the sidelines. But bear up for Anthony Miller to be the guy to defend our quarterback and get in that idiot's face for hitting Mitch that way and getting after him. He'll probably have to pay a fine, but I don't think he'll be suspended or anything like that. But bear up to Anthony Miller for his 7th touchdown catch and for being there, the first one to defend Mitch. And while I'm talking about it, bear up Kyle Long, who was in street clothes, got in the middle of that fracas. Nobody wanted to mess with him yesterday. It seemed like the seas kind of parted when Kyle Long was coming in there trying to make the peace. And Adrian Amos, bear up. Handled George Kittle for the most part yesterday. The guy still got his catches because they're going to throw it to him. He's the only offensive weapon that they have. But George Kittle didn't hurt us the way that he's hurt so many other teams so far this year. And finally, bear up to Allen Robinson. He was the go-to guy for Mitch yesterday, had an outstanding 43-yard catch that should have resulted in, at the very least, our first field goal of the day. That's the one that Cody Parkey pushed to the right. Bear down, Cody Parkey, for missing your field goal. This is the time of year when we need you to be at your sharpest. Missing gimme field goals like that is not helpful. But, bear up to Allen Robinson. He was a reliable target yesterday, made some fantastic catches. Some big third down catches there in the fourth quarter. And then on the biggest one that he made, the one that should have won us the game, bear down Allen Robinson for the situational awareness, man. You got to protect the football. You know that they're going to be trying to rip it out of your hands, trying to get it away, and there you are carrying it away from your body like a loaf of bread, and it gets punched out. And the next thing you know, the 49ers have life that they should not have had. So bear up to Robinson on his performance for every other moment in the game except that one. So bear up to Robinson for his performance yesterday. He had 6 catches for 85 yards. So an outstanding day catching. But that moment there almost cost us the football game. and it was because you weren't protecting the football. You were carrying it out way outside of your body, where it was unprotected. And the next thing you know, the 49ers have the football, and they're going back the other way. So bear up and bear down to Allen Robinson. So that is going to do it for the Week 16 review of the Bears Talk Underground. Only one regular season game left, and you know what? After that, we've got more games. How about that? For only the second time in show history, we've got playoff games to talk about. Chris Gates from the Daily Norseman we already got him set up to talk to him next week for the preview episode, and we're already talking about when we might end up getting together a week later to preview the wild card game. So I've also already reached out to an Eagles representative as well, just in case. So, but we'll be back on Thursday with Chris Gates. So until then, Merry Christmas, everybody. And by the time that we all see each other again, Happy New Year from the Bears Talk Underground. Until then, my name is Larry D, and this has been, of course, the Bears Talk Underground.